Well, I just wanted to sort of close with two things, really. Some very quick thoughts on the day, just to get some off my chest. And then, as I'm paying for drinks, you have to sit through the obligatory ad, So, they say in the IT industry, if the product is free, you are the product. So you'll have to endure it. I think it's been, fascinating, and I think it's a sign of how important this topic is that three of our speakers came from abroad for today. I think it's the first time, certainly, that I've been around where we've actually had a president sort of sit down amongst us. Maybe a president of 2000, but a president's a president, in my books. And I think that's great news. And then our local MP finds he better come over and make sure he knows what we're up to. So, so I think
the byways of my constituency as well.
That's right. I think as well, I warned you, we'd probably find that this is more a mirror on us than talking about offshore centres. I think we spent a fair chunk on the local UK issues. Apologies to the three people who came from abroad, but there you go. I think Nicolas got us off on a very good start because he identified very rapidly offshore centres fine, but very much about competition and tax, and I think that was a very, very helpful beginning. I thought Richard came back with some very good points, which Nicolas has acknowledged on the conduits. So both Nicolas and you got us off. I wish we'd had more time to spend on the rule of law, where I find that fascinating. That one of the things I keep telling people is that to run a great offshore centre is very simple. Treat people fairly. If you treat folks fairly, over time it'll come back. I said that in the Bahamas last year. And they came back with an interesting point, which in a way underscores it. They said, nobody treated us fairly. 41 years ago, the Bahamas became independent, and they're proud of their independence as opposed to being a dominion. And the minute that happened, everybody thought, oh, this is going to be like Kenya or something, and all the money disappeared. And 40 years later, they keep climbing up the ranks, they keep getting better, but they're not quite where they were 40 years ago, which is interesting. However, they would argue that their long-term future is better because they've proven over 40 years they can successfully run a jurisdiction that handles other people's monies fairly. So interesting there. I didn't expect this very unexpected definition of an offshore centre. I don't know if you saw it beneath the currents there. We have our areas where we have our Ponzi scheme. You can put that under a Barnard's Inn regulation, so, and all of this sort of thing. Actually, it seems an offshore centre is a place that has a good fiscal policy, so I really didn't expect that either. So that's fascinating. Here's something I prepared earlier in the blue waters off Alderney. I was hoping, and we did, I think, largely agree quickly that secrecy is an interesting issue, but not the big one. Tax evasion is just out of court. I wrote down conduits probably about a year ago, so I'm pleased that came up as the simplification arguments, that these are simple rule zones. I don't think we really quite touched on the long-term store and release, although to some degree I think, Robert, you raised that in the context of insurance. We didn't spend a lot of time on wealth protection, and we didn't really have the time to do a deep breakdown analysis, as I think both of our panelists pointed out. We're competing in a whole bunch of different areas. And finally, we ended on working together. So there you go. That's what I predicted, and I'm kind of pleased that that's broadly what we followed. I guess the one weakness in this one, and I think where we did get to at the end, and I thought, Nicolas, you raised this quite rightly. The corporate tax thing is a big, interesting argument where I think we can all agree offshore centres play a role. I don't think we've spent enough time today, or had enough time, to talk about individuals and some of the other issues that are there, but we were largely talking about corporate tax as a conduit. Well, that's that. Now for the ad in 1 minute. Long finance. All of you are here. I think I saw many of you yesterday, so you're very aware of the program. For those of you who are new, it's a series that my firm, Zien, have been running in conjunction with Gresham College and the City of London Corporation since 2005. It's become an enormous program with over 10,000 people involved in it, about 1,000 people on the online community, and we organize it in 4 sections. The London Accord, which is looking on ESG issues and has about 450 reports, I think. 420, I'm being corrected in quite proper manner by Chiara. 420, oh, there it says there, 420 reports up there. Financial Center Futures, which I would argue is very much what today was about. We have something called meta-commerce, where we're trying to get at some of the root problems in economics, and then our eternal core area, where we are looking at the kind of the fundamental nature of money. And Stuart and his team in Alderney have been involved with that in some of the discussions about alternative coin technologies. Lots of publications up there, all of them so far free, and all of the 350 plus events we've held have been free, and I hope that you find them interesting and enjoyable. Our outlook is we'll be publishing a meta-analysis of the program we've been running with the City of London, which has been trying to look at new ways, well, not even necessarily new ways, successful ways of funding city infrastructure. The Global Financial Centers Index 16 will come out in September, and I'm hoping, in fact, that New York pips London, so we get as much press about, London pips New York, so we get as much press about that as we got about this last one. There's an excellent blog up there, which I'd urge you to have a look at. We have a lot of contributors who produce a wide variety of thoughts, and not all of them in any particular agreement. Any forthcoming events you'd like to attend, go check out the site. And finally, on the community, people seem to send me emails saying, you know, somebody, have you noticed this? And I go, yes, I have, but why don't you post it on the community? You're welcome to. That's what it's there for. So that's that. So, what is our exam question for today? Well, there's no such thing as a symposium, which is a conference or meeting, a drinking party with intellectual conversation, without a drink. So may I all invite you to join with me in thanking the speakers, and then rush outside and thank them in person with a glass in your hand. Thank you very much.